Hey homeschoolers, I'm Melissa Webb, former full-time classroom teacher and homeschool mom turned full-time business CEO and encourager to homeschool families everywhere. I am determined and dedicated to helping you in this journey that you're on. Yes, I want to give you sound, educational, practical tips at the same time making sure that you're enjoying the family journey that you are on. So if you are looking for a place to be encouraged and inspired, you have found the perfect podcast. Homeschooling is a work of heart is truly the perfect place to start. So welcome. Let's jump in. Hello friends, and welcome back, or if it's your first time here, simply welcome. I'm really glad you're here. Hey, I always forget at the end to remind everyone that if today's episode is something that you find valuable and enjoyed, the kindest thing that you could do in way of a thanks, Melissa, this was exactly what I needed, is to share it with a friend. You can do that by going up to the upper right corner of the device that you're listening to right now, and it should give you the option to share episode. So please, by all means, share this with another person that you think would benefit from its value. I actually want to talk today about rockets. I'm in this mindset of coming back into a school year, and I always liked to start off school years with a great message. And being that I am a mom of 3 boys who are all adults now, they would have loved starting off with a simple rocket unit. So hopefully I'm going to inspire some clever and creative thinking. Let your brain start rolling. Have you ever heard the phrase, a rocket fails its way to the moon? I read that in a book. It was actually a book that was emphasizing the importance of failure. And I just remember thinking, like, as a child and a student myself, I thought of failure as the worst thing that could happen. I mean, losers fail. And I certainly didn't want to be a loser. And I can imagine today that I likely would have been a much braver person had someone told me when I was a child or a student that there was nothing wrong with embracing failure and that we could see failure simply as a means of redirection. That failure just means we need to redirect. Well, redirection is a word I can get behind. That doesn't sound like loser terminology at all. So when we go back to the phrase, a rocket fails its way to the moon, think about that as a metaphor that suggests success is often achieved through a series of failures. And it's from failing that we can see what we didn't know and then persist. Now, I know I have to say this because there are currently and have been for decades conspiracy theories that claim, there never even were any moon landings. They were all faked. I'm not going to talk about rockets with my kids. I don't even know if this is a real thing. But let me just assure you that I read into this and about this, and anything that I've read just debunks that kind of thinking. So please use this awesome metaphor with your kids. And as I mentioned, if I were starting a new school year with the boys, I think I'd start with like a space lesson about rockets. So by all means, take this idea and run with it. You could do an art lesson. The kids could draw or paint a rocket ship. You could even do like a graphic design unit. Man, my mind is just taking off like a rocket right now. But then whatever they created, put it into an 8 by 10 kind of size and slide that into the front cover of one of their school binders. And then put the phrase, a rocket fails its way to the moon, as a reminder throughout the school year that it's not only perfectly okay, it's actually expected. that we will fail. I would, in your lesson, also point out that a rocket sets off to the moon, but everyone on the ground, everyone, I don't know, who are the people? Aerospace engineers, rocket scientists, propulsion people, I don't know, all the people. They know that that rocket is not going to go off without a glitch. They're hoping they're minor glitches, but they're expecting glitches. And a rocket must redirect throughout its course, all the way through space. It's going to fall off course for all kinds of reasons, right? Maybe there's unanticipated gravitational pulls happening, space debris for sure. Maybe the way the fuel level or flow is going, or maybe some of the equipment goes faulty. They'll be pushing their spinning, right? I'm not really sure. But do you get the point? These things are going to happen. And in the world of rockets, I would show my kids the 3 big things that they do to recorrect what's going wrong and how we can apply this to our own lives. So here we go. Top 3 things that a rocket and those rocket scientists must do when failure is happening. Number 1, notice that there's a problem. Now, a rocket has onboard navigation systems. They are really paying close attention and they are ready to detect any deviation. And for us, we need to have that kind of awareness. We can't just bury our heads in the sand. We must discover if there is a problem. Now, sometimes we'll receive a poor score on a test we took, so that's a pretty easy way to see, whoops, there's a problem here. But in any kind of result, if you're not happy with how something is going in your life, it could be a relationship, it could be what the scale is reading right now. Maybe there's been too many margaritas enjoyed over the summer. I don't know. But when there's a result that you're not happy with, that's the first step to notice that there's a problem. The second thing we want to do when we see failure, and something that these rocket scientists do, is correct course. So once the deviation is detected, adjustments need to be made, right? We need to correct the course. Now for us, that could be if we failed a test, maybe we need to study differently, or maybe just study more. Maybe we didn't study enough. At this point, we need to brainstorm and we need to consider different approaches. There may be more than one way to correct the course. There could be 3, 5, 10, 20 different ways to correct the course. So considering all of the course corrections, that is really, really important. Now, the third thing to do when failure is occurring is initiate the change. So I know plenty of people who'll be like, yep, we have a problem. Yes, we need to correct our course. We could do A, B, or C, but then nothing happens. And that's because the third step is missing. We must initiate change. So as far as the rocket example goes, once any adjustments are made for that rocket, there's something called the thrust vector, and it initiates the redirection. For us as simple humans, it's not enough to know that we just need to do that something different. Now we are going to have to do that something different. We need to show up and we need to do the work. Last week, I opened up enrollment for our fall writing program. And I am happy to say we have several returning students and so many new ones. It's fantastic. But one mom in particular who I spoke with really touched my heart. She was very vulnerable, and she shared that last year she, and these were her words, failed her child. And she said just that. I failed my child in the area of writing, and I feel really terrible about it. I could feel her shame. The shame was heavy. And I wanted to just reach through my computer screen and hug her. Of course, I couldn't, but I assured her that's normal. Of course, we're going to fail our children from time to time. I failed my children countless times because I'm human. You're human. We're human. And our existence involves emotions that rockets don't have to deal with, right? Emotions are the complexity. It's so much more than a rocket. Rockets have these precise and exact measurements. The rocket scientists have exhausted and perfected. Rockets are expected to fail. So why can't we also be expected to fail? And why can't we normalize the fact that our children should be expected to fail? The thing is, we want to fail forward. We don't want to fail back. We want to fail forward. Rockets fail forward. They keep moving toward their destination. They don't just give up and fall from the sky. Instead, we want to fail forward. We want to do the 3 things. Notice the problem, correct the course, initiate the change. And I'm hoping that this concept reframes failure for you. I want you to see failure as an essential part of the journey towards success. It is not a final verdict on anyone's abilities. We just need to fail our way to our futures. And I have some homework for you this week. Oh, yes, I do. I'd love for you to answer these 3 questions. Of course, you can just do it while you're listening right now, especially if you're driving or you're taking a walk. But I hope you take this beyond your mind. It's going to get lost in your 60,000 thoughts a day. If you really want to make progress in this, if this is an area that you struggle with, if you have shame or you have guilt, or you have a child who has anxiety, shame, or guilt around failure, I want to encourage you to get the thoughts that you have on these 3 things I want to ask you, get those thoughts down on paper, okay? Question number 1, spend some time thinking, maybe even have a family discussion. This is a great time to talk about what didn't go well last year and how we're going to do things in such a way that this is our best year ever. So, question number 1, what problem or problems are you thinking of right now? Maybe you're encountering them, maybe you're remembering them. Create a list, problems. What problems around this concept of failure are sticking in your mind, are coming to your mind? Get those written down. Ask this of your kids. What problems do you think we had last year? Or what are problems you're feeling right now? Maybe they even have some concerns about how things are going to be in the upcoming year. Get those written down. Second question, what are 3 to 5 ways you might correct your course? At least 3 to 5. You could come up with more. What kinds of things, brainstorm, what kinds of things might make things better? There are no right or wrong answers here. It's just the thinking part, just the thinking piece. The third question I want you to consider is, how will you initiate change? What's going to need to happen for these changes to take place? And how are you going to do them? And when are you going to start? Now, I will tell you, of course, if your problem has been writing, oh my goodness, I'm ready to correct your course. I've got you, my friend. That's not a problem. And I'm going to initiate the change and get you going. But if it's something else, I want you to know you're always welcome to leave your comments. You can even text me now from the podcast app where you're listening right now to this episode. In the show notes, it should start off and say, would you like to text regarding this episode? I love that for the fact that it's going to link your text to this week's episode so that I will know. But here's the thing, I can't text you back from that text. You will need to say whatever it is you want to say. If you want to say anonymous, you certainly may. However, if you'd like me to get back to you, please be sure to give me your name and your email contact. Or you could share your social media link and I will come follow you and we can direct message that way. But there are ways for us to connect. Homeschooling families need community. I'm part of your community if you want me to be. So please reach out. I think it's time to shoot for the stars. Right on, my friend. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and listening this week. Hey, if this was something that you found valuable, don't forget you want to subscribe or follow so that every time a new episode is dropped, you'll be the first to know. And hey, before you go, if you are looking to get some of this academic writing under your belt and outsourced so that it's one less thing, freeing you up to enjoy more time with your family, hey, you're going to want to head over to writeonweb.com to see what kinds of resources and materials I have available for you. I will look forward to seeing you there, and I will look forward to seeing you here in our next episode. Right on.